Powertrax presents the most powerful sport on earth, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge.
And welcome to Powertrax. For the first time of 1989, we have moved outside. It's a beautiful day in Louisville, Kentucky. But Army Armstrong, we're talking about racing a new breed with these monsters because outdoors, it's nothing like indoors.
No, it's a whole new world. Indoors, we just came off the winter tour. They've been running straight over cars, about a 400-foot long track. This track, a half-mile in length. They're going to have to run the inside and the outside. If you start on the inside, you must finish in the outside lane. It's set up like a figure 8. They're going to have to jump 30 cars, not once, but twice, in order to determine who will advance into the next round, Richard.
And so the track is going to be tough. The competition even tougher. Now, the current national points leader, Dennis Anderson, is not going to be here due to a recent breakdown with the Gravedigger. So the favorite today is going to be this gentleman here, David Morris, the driver of the Equalizer. Now, he's only a rookie on the circuit, but he's number 2 in the national point standings. And, David, this is a whole new ball game going outside. We're used to seeing your power on a straight shot. How are you going to work a figure 8?
Well, it's going to be a lot different. Here you're going to have a whole lot of speed. You got to go along with that speed. You have turning. It's just going to be a lot different than your drag style racing. You're just going to have to use a good strategy with it.
But you'll be ready to rock and roll.
I'll be ready.
All right, so David Morris, Equalizer, is ready. Army is ready. I'm ready. We're going to be back with first round action in a moment on ESPN.
Powertrax and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy trucks.
Well, the sun shines brightly on my old Kentucky home. Welcome, everybody, to the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge from the Louisville Motor Speedway. We have a capacity crowd on hand on a very hot, sunshiny afternoon, and we are about ready to go side-by-side racing. Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter, he is going to be our top qualifier today, so he is going to get a bye run. As a matter of fact, he just made his bye run, and he'll move on into the quarterfinals. Side-by-side, it's going to be Bennett Clark and Clydesdale taking on the Thunder Chicken and Kid Raring. Now, Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson is scheduled to race Barbarian, but we don't think Gravedigger is going to make it due to a breakdown. Mike Wine, Jersey Outlaw against Stomper and Marvin Smith. The Equalizer, David Morris, takes on the Ford, no problem of John.
Kid Raring, driving the new Thunder Chicken truck, was not able to make a gear selection that he needed. And really, I'm going to go ahead and say that Clydesdale is going to advance into the next round due to the gearing problem they're having with the Thunder Chicken. Now, the Chicken will have the inside course or the short way around for the last half of the race, Richard Leek.
The Thunder Chicken right now, Army, looking a little bit more like a wounded chicken as Bennett Clark and Clydesdale is coming around for the last set of junk cars. He approaches the ramp, he backs down a little bit and makes it over easily, and here comes Kid Raring. He's going to be a loser while Bennett Clark gets the win. He advances into the quarterfinals.
So you keep an eye on that Georgia truck, the Clydesdale. That long wheelbase might just be the ticket on this long course, Richard.
Bennett Clark out of Powder Springs, Georgia. That is the longest monster truck on the circuit. He gets the win. And now here comes Starvin, Marvin Smith, the Stomper Chevrolet. Marvin, of course, is out of Arnold, Missouri, and he is taking on the Ford of Mike Wine. Mike, the Jersey Outlaw driver. He is from Pennsauken, New Jersey, and this is our first Ford Chevrolet matchup.
That's an old classic, Ford versus Chevrolet. You got to keep one thing in mind now. Mike Wine is a hired driver. Nick Rossi normally drives this truck, and he owns it, but business will not allow Rossi to go on tour with the truck. He's hired Wine to do the driving. Wine will be running the high side or the outside for the first half of the race, but he'll finish on the short side. Meanwhile, starting on the inside, Smith with a Chevrolet, a little bit of sleep on the start line. The Ford gets a jump, Richard. They're looking awfully close as they come past our camera angle.
Now the Jersey Outlaw running a 528 cubic inch engine, the Chevrolet with a 468. So give the power edge to the Ford, and coming across the first jump, Army, it's a Ford in the lead.
Wine's looking awfully good. Now he gets a little bit out of shape. Marvin Smith, okay, he comes over the other lane. Marvin Smith.
That's going to disqualify.
Okay, no, what's going to happen is going to disqualify the Ford, but Marvin Smith on 5 occasions this year has been disqualified himself. He's going to let the Ford move, then he's going to go right ahead. There's not going to be any question about him being legal for this run. So the Chevrolet, the Stomper, and Marvin Smith will be back in the next round of elimination.
No matter what happens here, I guarantee you the Outlaw will be disqualified for getting out of his driving lane. So let's give the win Officially to Marvin Smith, the Stomper Chevrolet. What happened at the end there with Mike Wine, Army?
Well, the track crew indicated to him he was disqualified, so instead of going over the junk vehicles, he just decided to go ahead and pull off and save the equipment. A tough break for Wine. Believe me, he's an up-and-comer. We'll be seeing a lot of him in 1989.
All right, so a bad day here for the Jersey Outlaw. So one Ford is out of it. Maybe this Ford can have a better run. John Moore, no problem, out of Lafayette, Tennessee. And he is going to be taking on, whoa, what a dandy of a kid,
yeah,
David Morris. I call him Dangerous David Morris, the Equalizer Chevrolet. You know the story about this truck, built by a famous TNT puller by the name of Gary Cook.
Morris leaves like a rocket on the starting line, works the inside of the track. Now, John Moore with the Ford really looks like he's behind. It's about an even race at this point. Morris will back on the throttle to try to get lined up. Remember, the Chevrolet, the Equalizer we're looking at there, will finish on the outside of the track. Goes over the jumps. Clean, Richard. Richard Leek, that's amazing how good that truck handles and how good that young man can drive it. He's having no problem at all with it, is he?
He is a smooth, young driver. Now he is going to back down just a little bit, save his equipment, it looks like, Army.
Yeah, he backs out of the throttle just a little bit. He knows where the no-problem Ford is. He's going into the next round. Now, one thing about the Equalizer, they'll go back and the crew will completely go over that truck and tighten it up. That's one thing they said they need to do. Racing at Louisville, you got to keep tightening that chassis up.
22-year-old David Morris moves on into the quarterfinal round, and that is where we're going to move when we come back with more on ESPN. Welcome back to Louisville Motor Speedway, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. You see Jim Miller, the driver of the Barbarian Ford out of Nokomis, Illinois. He is getting a bye run in the first round because the Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson, who he was supposed to race against, they broke a steering line in qualifying. They are out of the competition, so Jim Miller is going to move on easily, Army.
Well, it's a tough break for the Gravedigger fans. As we go across the country, Richard, you know the Gravedigger, one of the most popular trucks, but this is professional motorsport racing. You take your shot at what's laying on the table. Barbarian made the call. The Gravedigger did not. Kind of an interesting situation. This kid will be back.
And another guy that's going to be back in a few minutes is John Moore, the driver of No Problem. And I know you spent the afternoon, Army, with John talking about how they're going to keep their engines cooled on this long, long race course.